guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. As you can see, I'm trying out a new look. I'm going to be tweaking it, so suggestions are welcome. I'm trying to make the main screen where I share videos, right here where you see Sarah Boone. I'm trying to make it as large as possible, so when I share timeline information, videos, that sort of stuff, that hopefully you guys can get a better look at it and read it, because I have heard some folks say it's harder to read. And I know, especially if you're on a phone. But again, it's going to be tweaked, but suggestions are welcome. Our friendly neighborhood suitcase, Sarah Boone, is not a happy camper. Is she ever a happy camper? So she has complained to the state that she does not know who her appeal lawyer is. Okay, there's some filings on the Orange County website. I will go through that, but Court TV did a really good piece, so let me go through that first.
I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do and you choke me.
So then it's like, we decide to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So who gets in the suitcase? The problem is I fell asleep.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information.
Let's talk about what's trending in true crime. Sarah Boone appearing very anxious for the next phase of her court case as she's filed a formal motion with the court asking what attorney is handling her appeal. You'll recall she was convicted of murder after leaving her boyfriend George Torres inside of a suitcase to die. Take a look at the document. Look and notice this time it's not a handwritten motion like we've seen in the past from her. It's all typed up. She signed it there as well. The clerk responded to her saying that attorney Joshua Adams has been appointed to represent her for her appeal, but at this time no notice of appeal has been filed. Now Sarah Boone apparently isn't happy. She's saying she's not in the know, asking what's going on. Where's her attorney? So let's talk about Sarah Boone and why she hasn't been able to make contact with this attorney yet. First, I want to bring in Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver to talk about this. Lauren, good morning. Always great to see you. We say you're a resident expert on the Sarah Boone case, as you're always following what she's filing and the moves she's making. So what did you think when you saw this latest motion filed?
I mean, I was shocked it wasn't handwritten. She has beautiful penmanship, and she is known for writing letters. The other part of this motion is that it says that she's filing it pro se, even though she acknowledges in the motion that she has been given an appellate attorney. She correctly names him Joshua Adams and says that I haven't heard from him. So where is my attorney? Well, she answered her own question. She has an attorney. My guess is that she's reached out and hasn't heard back and is frustrated. That is a theme we've certainly seen from her before.
Right.
Yes. He's probably seen her case. It's on his pile of other cases to be appealed. And he probably thinks she doesn't stand a chance. And let's be honest, I'm sure he's not looking forward to speaking with her. He's going to have to, but does that mean he's going to make a rush or any of that stuff? No. But now that she's filed some things, I think it's probably possible this Joshua's attorney may make maybe a sort of effort to at least let her know if he's going to file anything or he's not going to file anything. But I really don't think that there's an appeal there, and that's really what the issue is.
Right. Oh yeah, I said in one of my predictions I made for 2025, Lauren, you know this, I said, we haven't heard the last of Sarah Boone. We're going to hear her being very vocal from prison. And speaking of, has she moved?
She has. So now she's in the prison system. She had been in the Orange County jail for over 4 years. this month will be 5 years since George was killed. So she had been in jail for a very long time. She was then moved to the Florida Women's Reception Center, which I take it as sort of like where you go before you get moved to a more permanent area. And now she has been moved to Ocala, Florida, which is a little bit northwest of Orlando. So she has a home for now, at least.
Right, she does, where she can complain. And, the complaining's become kind of thematic with her, Lauren, hasn't it? It seems that she had all those excellent attorneys, all outstanding, highly regarded in the area, and just nobody, was working with her to her standards, so to speak. Does this latest motion kind of make you hearken back to some of those past letters, Lauren?
Absolutely. I mean, the message from Sarah Boone is that she is the priority. She needs to be the priority, and she needs to feel like her attorney is only working for her case.
But guess what? Sarah doesn't realize, or she doesn't give a crap, probably a mixture of both, that these attorneys, despite what both judges told her, Judge Wooten and Judge Cranick, they have many other clients, okay? And she is one of many. And she's not a priority in the least. She's like I said, she's sitting in a pile, I'm sure, on this attorney's desk. But again, I do wonder how long it's going to take before he responds to her, or if he would just like to wait until she decides to write him a letter, which for us that would give us something to read. But she's never happy, as we all know, and I am surprised, like they are, that it's not handwritten. I don't know if I would say she's got excellent penmanship, but she was handwriting letters and such much more than I have written anything by hand since college. So, yeah, I guess when you're in jail, there's not much more you can do.
That is not realistic, especially when we're talking about someone who has filed a motion of indigency. So this is a public defender who I imagine has a very large caseload. And to be fair, she was just convicted in December. She hasn't had a very long time for this appeal to sit. So I can't imagine that this is top of the list for the appellate attorney, but I'm sure that she has reached out multiple times, if I know her at all.
I was just mentioning all of those wonderful attorneys. I want to bring in one of them right now, Attorney Frank Bankowitz. I'm not sure if he was number 6 or number 7. We lost count. There were so many of them. Frank is standing by to answer some questions for us. Good morning, Frank. Nice to have you back on the show. Do you recall, were you number 6 or 7 for her?
I think I was number 6.
6? Okay. It's been a while. I remember we talked about it, and I think we wound up with 9 and 10 at trial for her. I think that's what we settled on with Sarah Boone. Okay, Frank, I want to ask you about the time frame in Florida, the law, what the law says in terms of the time to file an appeal. Would you kind of walk us through what you have to do when you're a defense attorney in terms of first exhausting certain remedies with the trial court before you proceed to the appellate court?
Well, you can file a motion for a new trial, which she did, and that has to be filed within a certain number of days after the jury verdict, and they did that. And then her attorney did file, in spite of what the clerk's office told her, they did file an appeal on the 18th of December, 2024. And that appeal has to be filed within 30 days of the rendition of the judgment and sentence of the court. And it was filed, but I have some questions about whether it was properly filed. The notice of appeal states, notice is hereby given that the defendant, Sarah Boone, appeals to the District Court of Appeals, 9th District of Florida. There is no 9th District in Florida. And there are 6 district courts of appeal, and the one that regulates, so to speak, Orange County is the 6th District Court of Appeals in Lakeland, Florida. So the notice of appeal is improper. improperly stated. It's sent to the wrong court, but there was an appeal filed. Again, irrespective of what the clerk's office, their letter to her stating.
I believe that James Owens may have filed that. We are going to look at the her docket, but I believe it was filed by Mr. Owens, which would kind of make sense. He doesn't know that, but you'd think that Mr. Owens would make sure he was, even though he was very, very clear that he is not an appeal attorney, that he would make sure he at least filed it correctly. I mean, you would think that was basic, but yeah.
Notice is hereby given that the defendant, Sarah Boone, appeals to the District Court of Appeals, 9th District of Florida. There is no 9th District in Florida. And there are 6 district courts of appeal, and the one that regulates, so to speak, Orange County is the 6th District Court of Appeals in Lakeland, Florida. So the notice of appeal is improper, improperly stated. It's sent to the wrong court, but there was an appeal filed. Again, irrespective of what the clerk's office, their letter to her stating that Mr. Adams is appointed, however, no notice of appeal was filed. That's incorrect. That letter is dated January 29th.
Whoa, Frank,
and the appeal was dated
big here.
December the 18th.
Yeah. So it would have been within the proper window of time, within that 30-day window, but for, as you've caught,
correct,
it seems to have been improperly filed with this district that doesn't exist. So that would explain why the clerk's office is saying we have no notice on file, but we have your attorney's name. Okay, so a couple questions then, Frank, to follow up.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, what they filed it, technically the notice of appeal has to be filed in the circuit court, which would be Orange County. But a copy goes to the District Court of Appeals, and this has the 9th District. Again, there is no 9th District.
Right, as you noted that. So maybe that's perhaps the reason it got lost, or seems to have gotten lost, because from what we can see publicly, it doesn't seem that something was filed, but yet, as you pointed out, just filed in the wrong place. So can this be corrected? I think that's the biggest follow-up question. Is there any way to correct this for Sarah Boone?
Yes. It can be corrected, and an amended notice of appeal can be filed. But again, they filed it in the right court, the circuit court, but not the right district court. Let's put it that way. And but yeah, it can be remedied. I'm very surprised that the clerk's office said that there's no notice filed, because I have the what's called e-filing date of December the 18th at 4:58 p.m. On the document itself. So the clerk's office did receive it. So the clerk, whoever sent her that reply, is wrong, basically.
Oh, wow. And we know Sarah Boone is unlikely to let that go, huh, Frank?
Oh, no, she's not going to let that go, not Sarah. And I, in preparation for our meeting today, I tried to reach out to Mr. Adams, but who I know personally, and he's an excellent attorney, and but I was not able to reach him before this morning.
Thank you for that, Frank. Joshua Adams was the name that the clerk gave her. Okay, so you personally know him, and he is very good and has a solid reputation.
Yes, he is. And like every attorney that Ms. Boone had, they're all experienced criminal defense attorneys and or appellate attorneys, which Mr. Adams appears to be a piece. There has to be a list of attorneys who will handle certain cases. And they're the ones that handle the circuit court cases, which are the murder cases, ones that handle county court misdemeanors, and then you have appellate lists of attorneys. So he must be on that appellate list or he would not have been appointed.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there for now. But thank you for all of the insight and the legal explanations coming from the great state of Florida where you practice. Attorney Frank Bankowitz, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
And I actually really liked that Mr. Bankowitz, after all that he went through with Sarah, that he's still kind of watching this case, watching and reporting out with Court TV. Again, like he said, these were all experienced criminal lawyers, and she just doesn't play well with others. So here is the My Orange Clerk website, which if you look at it, it does say it's currently in an appeal, on appeal. Right here, it stays up here on the top left. And here is the docket events. Obviously, everything here was from her trial. Now, there was the one, I think we went over here on the channel. I remember that there was an order appointing counsel. But this is the notice of appeal on 12/18 that the Bankowitz was just speaking of. Like I said, I think it was actually filed by Owens. I could be wrong, so I'm going to take a quick glance at it here. So right here, 9th District of Florida. Yeah. So let me go to the bottom. Up right here. Mr. Owens filed it. He's not from the area. So, yeah, I mean, I think he should have checked on that. But hopefully they can fix it, like he said, and refile that. Because, yes, Sarah's not going to put up with that. And whether or not she's able to get an appeal, I mean, it is her right to file an appeal. And it was timely. It was just filed incorrectly by her previous lawyer. So here is the information here. Affidavit of insolvency for appeal and order appointing PD, uniform commitment and receipt. Now, notice of inquiry. This is when she sent the letter to the clerk. So this was the letter written by Sarah Boone to the clerk, because she's like, hello, where is my attorney? So again, this is they did show it on the screen there with Court TV's piece, but comes now Sarah Boone, pro se, which she was not pro se once she had Mr. Owens, so that's, yeah, I don't know why she put that in there, but she's not a lawyer, and files this notice of inquiry with this clerk of the circuit court in the above referenced case number, inquiring as to the status of appointment of appellate counsel. The last entry on the docket in this case shows that Joshua Adams, Esquire, was appointed to represent the defendant on December 18, 2024. However, she has not received any correspondence from him, and her application of indigence will be appointed to an appellate attorney was not filed with this court until December 23rd, 2024. Please advise as to an appointed appellate counsel in the aforementioned case dated the 20th day of January 2025. And there's her signature from the Florida Women's Reception Center in Ocala. So she, except that she put pro se, that was pretty well written, so I'm not sure she wrote that by herself. But, and of course here is the reply to her from the clerk, Tiffany Moore Russell, where she states that in your response to correspondence dated 1/21/2025, the following applied. Other attorney Joshua Adams has been appointed to represent you for an appeal. However, at this time, no notice of appeal is on file. So, yeah, I do think that they need to remedy that because it was filed on time. It was just filed incorrectly. But no matter how much we dislike her, she deserves to file, go through the motions and what have you. And obviously something happened, and I'm sure she's going to blame this appellate attorney because that's what Sarah does. But I think it's probably the system. And once she was moved from Orange County Jail here in Orlando to Ocala, it's kind of a lot going on. So who knows what's been, going on there. And I know she's in the welcome center, which means they're evaluating her at this point to see where she's going to be placed more permanently. So that's kind of where things are. I assume now that she's written this inquiry last week to the court, and probably Joshua Adams, the attorney, will more than likely get a hold of her. I don't want to say soon because he's busy, but I'm sure he'll do some sort of reach out to her. Maybe he'll file a letter, but I will keep an eye on the docket now that things are starting to kind of file a bit there. And I don't know, guys. I kind of hope she'll write some letters soon. What do you think? Do you think that she's going to write some letters during her appeal process? So, and let me know if you want me to keep posting this, covering this, or if you kind of want less of Boone. I know some of you guys are still very, very interested, and some of you are like, let her hang out in Ocala and whatever. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.